Hi there, good afternoon. You've tuned in to Market Phatphat right here on ET. Now, I'm Cheryl D'Souza. Along with me have Vinny Motiwala as well as Avan Dubar. So, very good afternoon to you, ladies. Looks like we are all sitting in proper shade card material and we are synchronizing clearly. But markets are definitely not synchronizing. But with the global markets, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So for now, then, that's why we have a screen that's absolutely flat in today's trading session. For the Nifty as well, we've come off from the top of the day, but looks like we're confined to a fairly tight range. The Nifty Bank as well, I think it pretty much, if you pull up the chart of the Nifty Bank, looks exactly like the chart of the frontline index right now, doing precious little, down about 1/3% as we speak. No real traction when it comes to the broader markets either. So the mid and the small caps, pretty lackluster in trade. That breadth for now, well, it's skewed in favor of the gaining side. Let's just run you through then some of the movers on the frontline index. Divi's Laboratories merits a mention with a 2.5% move. JSW Steel, Tata Steel, Hindalco from the metal space packing in a punch. There's Bharti Airtel as well as Bajaj Auto in the green. So those are some of the smart movers in trade. In fact, on the Nifty 500 as well, just want to highlight some of the smart double-digit gainers. Green Panel Industries, for instance, has gained about 14%. There's Prison Johnson that's holding out quite smartly. Volumes as well are supported. You've got a Gland Pharma as well that's perked up a solid 8% plus. We're focusing on some of those rice stocks, so KRBL as well as active in trade. Ratan India Enterprises is another stock that's active. On the flip side, Balkrishna Industries, it's slumped about 3.5% as we speak. You've got strong volumes on ICICI Lombard, and that stock is down in trade. PVR along with Angel One, those are some of the other losers this afternoon.
Okay, on that note, let's get started with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade either on the back of news flows or technicals. On the technicals, we have Nagraj Shetty with us, while from the research team, we have Ashesha as well as Harsh joining in with us. A very good afternoon to all three of you all. And let's pull up the charts for the first one, and that is Zomato. We're going to talk about this stock because there are a couple of news flows that have come in. One is a brokerage note, and another is a clarification that has come in from the company. First, let me take you all through the brokerage note, where UBS is actually maintaining a buy on the company, and they've given a target price of 80 rupees per share. They've actually just cut the target price by 10 rupees. Previously, it was 90 rupees per share. Now, also, what they believe that Swiggy has actually gained market share in the past 6 months due to more pronounced increase in Zomato's delivery fees, as well as they've cut the FY24-25 food delivery gross order value for Zomato by 10% as well. Relaunch of the subscription and adjustment in the delivery fee and discounts is helping Zomato reverse the share of loss as well. So yes, that's the note coming in from UBS. But in terms of the clarification, Zomato said that they had made changes in their delivery payout structure with respect to Blinkit business, and the disruption that we're seeing and any changes that were made have no material impact on the operations or financial performance of the company. That shut down some stores for a few days, and that was mainly to ensure the safety of the employees at the store. But now most of the stores have been resumed for operation as of now as well. And once this clarification actually came in, we've seen that the stock has started buzzing in trade. At one point of time, it was up more than 2%. As of now, also holding on for 1.9%.
All right, that's a matter for you. But let's talk about a star performer in trade today, and that has to be Piramal Enterprises, because that particular counter at one point in time was soaring higher by about 9% or so, which marked the biggest intraday gain for the company since November 18. Piramal Pharma is the company, and if you look at the stock price, 9% uptick coming in for Piramal Pharma. The company said that the US FDA has issued an EIR, that is Establishment Inspection Report, for their manufacturing facility at Sellersville in the United States, this after closing an inspection. If you look at the stock price, it is up for a second consecutive trading session, 9% uptick coming in for Piramal Pharma, a positive news flow. And just like the way how the rest of the pharma pack is buzzing, today also you have Piramal Pharma that's buzzing in trade.
Yep, it's the comeback of pharma as well. That's a theme that we've been discussing on the channel. Moving right on to number 3 is Patel Engineering, and it's an interesting mover then in today's trading session. It's perked up on the charts today by a solid double-digit gain of 14%. Now, the shareholding pattern actually reflects some changes in the month of March, where we understand from the exchanges that KRBL Securities has appeared with about a 1.29% stake in the counter. And in fact, remember, KRBL Securities is promoted by Vijay Kedia, so perhaps purchasing into the stock, and that's why you're seeing the action on the stock price.
Okay, Nagraj, let's talk about your first stock for today, and that is Oracle Financial Services. When you look at this stock, has not done anything in terms of returns over the last 1 year, 2 year, 5 years. It's been negative returns, but last 6 months seems like it picked up pace, but again it's become flattish and subdued in trade. So what should we be expecting in terms of charts for this one? Is this a buy call or a sell call?
Yeah, absolutely. What the pattern is unfolding is a larger range bound action. And technically, we believe that after consolidation movement at some point of time, there is a possibility of a technical breakout. That's what I'm expecting. Around 33.30, 33.40 is going to be the apex point for the stocks for the trend breakout. And I'm expecting this upside breakout very soon in stocks. If this stocks sustainably move above 33.50 levels, then one may expect this to move towards the next overhead resistance of around 36.50 levels in the near term.
All right, that's the view coming in on Oracle financials. But Ashesha, coming to you, Tata Coffee, looks like earnings season has already started for you, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the stock is reacting negatively to the kind of numbers that it reported. It was a rather muted set. Margins have declined this quarter. Company has reported margins at 14.6% in the quarter gone by versus margins of 17%, indicating a decline or a contraction of nearly 240 basis points on a year-on-year basis. As far as revenues are concerned, they did increase a tad bit. % uptick is what we have seen on a YOY basis, while profit after tax has seen an uptick of 9%. The company says that improved price realizations driven by superior product mix in instant coffee both in India as well as Vietnam market aided performance for the company. But the street clearly is not excited with the kind of numbers that it has reported. Margin decline of 240 basis points, and that is what the stock is reacting to. 0.7% lower in trade as we speak.
Okay, that's number 5, reacting to numbers, Tata Coffee. Let's move right on then, and Nagraj discussed Rallis India. Pretty tight range over the last 1 month, around 200 to 205, 10 at best. What's your view on the charts? When will it break out?
Yeah, it has completed its recent downline. What we can observe is the largest swing movements over the period of time in the last 1 year. And recently it has completed the sharp downtrend which has started from the 260 to almost to the bottom of 190 levels. From that, it has witnessed the upside bounce. The overall chart pattern is indicating a bottom reversal around 190 levels in the last month, and current consolidation of the last 4-5 sessions is likely to be broken off on the upside. That itself indicating that lack of weakness is emerging at the hurdles. Previously, we have seen a sharp weakness from the resistances. Now the resistances are being converted into a range-bound action. This is something positive for the stocks, and I'm expecting the current range movement of around 204 to 206 is likely to be broken on the upper side, and the next resistance to be watched is around the 220.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. And Harsh, Policy Bazaar, why is this one in focus today? Why is it buzzing trade?
Well, yes. So, Vinny, Policy Bazaar, in the insurance space itself, we've seen expenses of management being notified by the IRDA, which is the authority for insurance. And, there was some amount of a disconnect with regard to the understanding as to whether that expenses of management would really impact direct policies, which is policies bought without an agent. And that could see a reduction in price, and whether that could see a reduction in price or not. Now, ICICI Lombard held its Q4 earnings call yesterday, and it suggested that there could be discounts offered to customers who are coming directly to ICICI Lombard, and that particular model could be sustained, which is of course adverse for PB Fintech, because PB Fintech is pretty much a distributor for insurance products other than being a distributor of loans as well, but largely a distributor of insurance products, and that's why the stock is reacting adversely to some of that data and information coming through from the ICICI Lombard call. Stock is down 2%.
All right, moving on, Nagraj, let's talk about Balrampur Chini, and we've seen the sugar counters actually see good uptick coming in, but do you think that uptick will sustain? Sweet gains will keep pouring in for names like Balrampur Chini?
Yes, of course, the sugar stocks have been in the limelight recently, and we have seen good amount of upside bounces in the sugar stocks, particularly saying this Balrampur Chini has been making an attempt to break above the 416, 417 resistance, which is a strong resistance over the last many months. And technically, after showing a minor consolidation pattern in the last week, minor decline in the last week, the stock has again rose today and in the recently and making an attempt again. This repeated testing technically is indicating that we are likely to see a decisive upside breakout of around 416, 417 levels in the near term, and that could open the next upside resistance of around 450 levels in the next 1 month.
Okay, let's keep on those levels for Balrampur Chini Mills. But moving on, let's talk about some of the rice stocks names and look at KRBL and what a move that we've seen coming in the stock as well. It's up more than 7% as of now. And we have a couple of news flows here. One, obviously, the India export data that has come in, and that is showing an increase for the Indian export data for 2022-2023. That has increased by 16% from 2022. Volumes have remained muted at 21 million tons in FY23, but spike in rice exports on the back of a robust global demand is what we're seeing and what is supporting the Indian rice exporters. Other than that, let's not forget there's an overall global shortage in terms of the rice across the globe as well, and that is coming in because of some of the drought situations that is happening in China, and even in terms of concerns and supplies coming in from Ukraine as well. So yes, that does turn out to be beneficial for Indian exporters in terms of rice exporters, basmati rice exporters especially, and KRBL also is in focus on the back of that, up 7% in trade.
All right, moving on. Talk about Schaeffler India, and remember Schaeffler came out with its numbers yesterday post market hours, but if you look at the stock price today, also the stock is seeing a decline. It had fallen as much as about 4.9% on an intraday basis, more since March 13th. Right now the stock is trading lower by about 3%. If you look at the quarterly performance as the March quarter performance, 5% downtick coming in for the profits on a year-on-year basis, and this was dragged by slower growth in their industrial business. They also said that their net income stood at around 21.9 crore rupees versus 23.1 crore rupees on a quarter-on-quarter basis, and 21.9 crore rupees versus 20.7 crore rupees on a year-on-year basis. If you look at the revenue, they fell by about 5.6% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, but on a year-on-year there was an uptick. They said that there was a headwind in the demand from the wind energy companies, and that moderated growth in their industrial business, which actually comprises more than 30% of their overall revenue. So that's one of the reasons why your Schaeffler India that is reacting to the commentary coming in from the investor presentation post their quarterly numbers. The stock is down by about 3% as we speak right now.
All right, let's move right on then and pull up stock number 11. That's Max Financial. Nagaraj, let's understand how you're mapping out the charts.
Yeah, this stock has been in a continuous downtrend over the last few months from the high of 875. It made a low of around 604 levels recently in the last months. Currently, what can be observed from this chart pattern is this stock has been in the process of forming important bottom reversal around 604, 605 levels, and the last 3-4 weeks consolidation itself is indicating that this stock is likely to show upside bounces. Currently placed at the resistance around 650 levels. I'm expecting this resistance to be tested again and again over the next few sessions, and eventually this resistance of 650 is going to be taken out on the upper side. On the upside breakout of 650, I'm expecting this stock to reach to the next overhead resistance of around 700 levels in the next few weeks.
There you have it. That's Max Financial Services on the charts. Moving right on then, let's discuss a banking name, and that's Bank of India. As the company has said that the bank has said that they are ready to discuss the possibility of a fundraise to the tune of 6,500 crore rupees in the board meet. Remember, earlier they had stated that they will contemplate fundraise via various channels like issuing banks, equity capital for the year ahead. They are going to review the possibility of a 4,500 crore fundraise via various means of fresh equity capital like preferential share, rights issue, QIP placement as well. Or they may choose Basel III compliant additional Tier 1 bonds in the domestic or foreign currency to raise the same amount. They're also going to examine the possibility of issuing Basel III compliant Tier 2 bonds with a maximum value of 2,000 crore rupees, which will the total potential capital raise to 6,500 crores. That's Bank of India for you at 79.8.
Good. Let's move on and Nagaraj then talk about Laurus Labs on the charts as well. How are you looking at the charts for this one? Are you expecting a run up finally in this one, or still more correction expected?
Yeah, after a sharp downtrend of the last many months, the stock is finding bottom reversal around the 297 levels. And of course, we can see the pharma stocks, strategically pharma sector is looking positive. Healthcare and pharma stocks are expected to outperform the benchmark Nifty in the near term. This is the one stock it has underperformed recently with the benchmark and the sector itself, and now showing some promising signs of bottom reversal at the lower levels of around 295 to 300. I'm expecting this upside momentum which has happened over the last couple of sessions is likely to continue. This small consolidation, a minor downward of the last few sessions is expected to end soon, and I'm expecting upside bounce from here on. The next upside resistance to be watched is around the 340 levels over the period of time.
All right, moving on then, ICICI Lombard, another earnings candidate, Ashesha.
And the stock is declining in trade today. Street is not happy with the kind of numbers the company has reported. Although on a year-on-year basis, numbers look good. Profit after tax for the quarter gone by stood at 437 crores, an uptick of a whopping 40% on a year-on-year basis. We have a couple of brokerage notes also that have come in. First up, JP Morgan, where they've maintained their neutral stance on the stock, but they've cut their target price. From their earlier target of 1250 rupees per share, they've now revised their target to 1160 rupees per share. They say fourth quarter numbers were largely in line. The company is on track to meet their guidance, but they believe that most of the positives are already priced in, and that is the reason they've cut their target price to 1160 rupees per share. They believe motor business is likely to remain competitive, while PNC may see lower profitability in the coming quarters. So on the back of weak set of numbers that the company has reported, the stock is under pressure today, nearly 5% lower in trade for ICICI Lombard.
Okay, there you have it. That's ICICI Lombard for you. Meantime, let's analyze the charts then of Indian Bank and Nagaraj. Why does this one stand out?
Yeah, Indian Bank was moving in a narrow range movement of around 300 to 270 levels in the last 3-4 months, and it was recently made an attempt of a decisive upside breakout of 295-300 levels, and this week it has stood higher. Currently placed around 317, which is indicating a clear-cut upside breakout technically of the strong resistance. The overall chart pattern, even volume has expanded during this week's upside breakout, and also our weekly RSI has moved above the 60 levels. The overall chart pattern is indicating a big upside momentum shift for this PSU banking stock, Indian Bank, and this upside momentum is likely to continue for the near term.
Okay, keep an eye out, and that's Indian Bank for you all on the charts. Harsh, BEML, why have you picked out this one today?
Well, yes, so BEML land assets, in fact, has listed itself today. It's, of course, a 1:1 ratio between BEML and BEML land assets to kind of mirror the shareholding of erstwhile BEML. Now, what has been divested or hived off? Essentially, it's certain non-core, non-operational surplus land which has been hived off, 1,500 acres of freehold land, 124 acres in Bengaluru, 400 in Mysore, and 30 flats in Bombay, Chennai and Kochi, beg your pardon, all of which have been demerged. Now, with regard to what analysts are saying, or rather what the value of the stock was just before or ex-demerger, it was at 1,826 a piece, and on the 8th of September, when the stock went ex-demerger, it was at 1,464. So technically, the implied indicative value of the BEML land assets ought to have been 362 rupees a piece. It's listed at roughly 280, around a 30% discount to what it ought to have been listed at. Antique values the land at around 624 rupees a share. So keep your eye out. That one is on the news today.
All right, that is BEML land assets that is in focus in today's trading session. But Nagaraj, let's talk about Surya Roshni, and this particular counter is doing cartwheels, I must say, over the last 1 year or 6 months or even YTD performance. Off late, you also had a news flow come in that a marquee investor also went ahead and actually upped their stake in Surya Roshni. But on the charts, do you think it will continue doing that cartwheel and shine bright?
Yes, the upside has been phenomenal over the last 6 months. You can say that it has moved continuously on the upper side. Any downward correction on the weekly chart in between have been bought into, and the stock has been surged up further. Currently placed at the higher levels, I'm expecting this upside momentum to continue. Any consolidation from here is going to be the opportunity to enter into the stocks, and I'm expecting the stock to reach up to the next overhead resistance of around 845 to 850 levels in the next 1 month.
Keep an eye out on Surya Roshni and those levels over there. But let's talk about Titan, and we have a note that has come in from Kotak Securities. They've retained their ad rating for Titan, and what they're saying is that Titan has actually reduced the commission of their L2, L3 franchisee stores by Tanishq and that's by around 50 to 100 basis points from 5% and 10% respectively. Phased reduction over FY24 and 25, and this is mainly to earn part of the store level operating leverage as well. So there's more focus that now Titan is going to be doing on their profitability front as well. This change in terms of the term of trade as well, which is a rare and unprecedented, and indicates that Titan is going to be focusing on expanding its jewelry EBIT margins or defending margins in the event of any rise that they could see in terms of any competitive intensity. Also, let's not forget the softness in demand is starting in the month of March was led by the sharp rise that we saw in gold prices, which is up almost 20% in the past 5 to 6 months. So that continues to weigh a bit in terms of the near-term growth of the company. But otherwise, in terms of Kotak, they are estimating a 13 to 14% growth in jewelry sales for FY24, FY25 expected, and partial factors are intermittent weakness in terms of easing of pent-up demand is something that will work out well for the company once the demand actually starts improving. So keeping an eye out on Titan today.
All right, let's shift gears then and focus in on Aircon. It's been a pretty phenomenal move in the last month, Nagraj, but do you think it can revisit those all-time highs, 66, even cross those levels on the upside?
Yeah, of course, it has all the possibility of crossing those 67, 66 levels, which is a strong resistance. Theoretically, it has witnessed a sharp upside breakout over the last 1 month from the bottom of around 40, 50, 51, 52 levels, and currently continuously moving up without showing any reasonable downward correction. This is something indication of the sharp upside momentum in the stock price. Even overall chart pattern, you can see a volume breakout, as well as the breakout in the RSI is also visible on the charts. It's looking positive, and I'm expecting this to reach up to the next overhead resistance of around 70 levels in the next couple of months.
All right, let's shift focus then, and let's talk about the oil and gas pack, especially the companies that get impacted with the windfall tax revision. So like Reliance Industries, ONGC, Oil India, MRPL, also for the matter of fact Chennai Petro. The government has actually brought back the windfall tax on domestically produced crude oil, while it went ahead and slashed the export tax on diesel to zero for the first time ever. Now the additional tax on crude is at around 6,400 rupees per ton. This is revised from zero that it was set since April 4th. The additional excise duty on export of diesel is now nil compared to 0.5 rupees per litre earlier. Remember, the duty on overseas shipment of gasoline and jet fuel is maintained at nil, and these changes are going to come into effect from April 19, that is today itself. Remember that these revisions are a part of regular review of the policy, as government is typically adjusts windfall taxes every 2 weeks. So that's the reason why you need to watch out for all of these counters in today's trading session.
All right, let's also find out which is the next stock that's trending in trade, and it's Pidilite. In the news, as the company has entered into agreement with Basic Adhesives in the US. This is for the purchase of certain assets, which comprises the technology, design, trademark, domain name, etc. And that's on an agreed consideration, which has not been revealed so far, that will be paid by the company in tranches over a period of time. Down a percent at the lowest point of the trading day, 24.05 on Pidilite.
Okay, let's pull up the charts for Spark. That's Sun Pharma Advanced Research Company. Nagraj, how are you looking at the charts for this one? Last 1 month, 15% return approximately for this company. How much more upside are you looking at?
Yeah, it has witnessed a significant upside bounce from the bottom of 163 levels, and currently placed at the higher levels. I'm expecting the chart pattern is also improving and is suggesting that the stock is likely to show further upside over the period of time. I'm expecting the next overhead resistance of around 220, 222 levels in the near term.
All right, Ashish, moving on. Tata Communications, why is this one in the spotlight today?
Tata Communications will be reporting its numbers post-market hours today, and we are expecting fairly muted numbers from this one this time. Revenues are expected to increase marginally by about 2% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, while EBITDA is expected to come in at 1100 crores, an uptick of 2%. Margins, meanwhile, are expected to contract this quarter. We are expecting margins at 23.9% this quarter. As far as net profit is concerned, we are expecting a decline of about 9% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, and that is because of higher borrowing costs and higher tax outgo this quarter. So fairly muted set of numbers is what we are expecting from Tata Communications this time around. The stock is also under pressure, over 1.5% lower for this one.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Tata Communications. Watch out for numbers later today. Tell you what, let's slip into a very quick break right here on the show. Stay with us as the countdown continues on Market Phatphat.